Welcome to Sapiens Spiritual Direction and this fifth in our series, this Advent, Wandering in a Time of Holy Darkness. I am very glad that you have joined me today. Let's begin with prayer. Gracious and holy God, we give you thanks and praise for the gift of your love which sends Christ into the world. In these final days, as we prepare for your holy arrival, give us open and trusting hearts to accept your grace and peace in the world. Amen. We have walked through several themes during this Advent journey: waiting, searching, attending, and this day we focus on accepting. And accepting as a spiritual practice as we continue to prepare for the arrival of the Holy One. And as we now move into this season of winter where the world turns toward the light as we prepare for welcoming the light of the world. The darkness is giving way to the light, and we long for that warmth and that possibility and the promise of hope that it holds for us and for the world. We want to receive it and embrace it. And the practice of accepting as a spiritual practice is part of that journey. It is the saying of the divine yes to the holy invitation to be a partner with God in this welcoming of light and love into the world. Accepting a holy yes, a choice. The mystics and certain spiritual teachers talk about this as a practice of surrender, to surrender oneself. And often, far too often, we think of surrender as losing, as giving up, as just sort of laying down and giving it over. And that's not what is meant here in this context of a spiritual practice of surrender. Surrender is an accepting and a deep trust, an answer, a holy yes to the question and the invitation and the proposition to engage with God. It is coming to that place or that precipice of saying, yes, I will give myself over to the divine so that the divine can give themselves over to me, and together we can walk forward into this holy next as partners. Holy surrender and the practice of accepting this divine yes is about making a choice of allowing myself to let go into the everlasting embrace of God and be carried until we can find our feet together and move forward into that divine roadway that leads to life, to love, and to whatever it is that is the blessing God holds in store for us together. We look to Mary, who in the Annunciation, in the receiving of the invitation from the angel, the messenger who brings this proposition from God for her to be the one who is to bear the divine into the world. We look to her who makes a response and a choice to this invitation. And yes, she did have a choice. And she says, she gives her answer, her divine yes. Let it be unto me according to your word. That giving over, that lifting and jumping into the possibility of the unknown, but trusting in the divine love that makes the invitation. And so in these final days of Advent, as we come to the approach of the stable, as we make our way to the manger, as we hold hope for the promise of the light to come back into the world and the Holy One to be born, we accept and reflect on how in our lives this divine yes, this holy surrender can be exercised more in our daily living. Exercised more in that understanding of trust, love, patience, kindness, of knowing that God constantly wants to be with us, in this wonderful partnership of walking together into the divine revelation of what it is to be free, what it is to be saved, what it is to be loved and to be love in the world. So may we have the courage to practice holy surrender, acceptance and accepting that divine holy yes to God who wants to dance with us. Our chant is again from the O antiphons, the O Come Emmanuel. And the words today are, O Come Emmanuel, and find in me a holy place to dwell. O come Emmanuel, and find in me a holy place to dwell. O come Emmanuel, and find in me a holy place to dwell. O come Emmanuel, and find in me a holy place to dwell. O come Emmanuel, and find in me a holy place to dwell. A blessed Christmas to each of you, and may the divine enter into your lives, and may your response be yes. I invite you to continue to check the Sapience Spiritual Direction website throughout the remaining of this season and into the next for further reflections and other offerings of a spiritual nature as we walk together in the way of wisdom. Go with God.